if I'm really honest, I'd announced Logan was my last. And then I went to see the Deadpool movie and I was 20 minutes in. I was like, curses. I'm like, it's, all I could see that whole movie was, first of all, I loved the movie, but all I could see was Nick Nolte, Eddie Murphy in 48 hours. I was like, this is something we haven't done with a character. That's a kind of dynamic we haven't had before.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson, and today we have three really big MCU updates. These are three separate reports about three different projects. However, they all tie together, of course, because they have to do with the multiverse. And some have to do specifically with time travel and new time travel devices that they're about to introduce in the MCU. And the other report has to do with Spider-Man, specifically Spider-Man 4, which I know fans are going to be super excited to hear about. But the first one that we're going to be talking about today is Deadpool 3, and specifically about Wolverine and the old Logan timeline. Remember, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds said that they weren't going to touch the old Logan timeline. They're not going to undo his death or that character arc. That is set in stone. That's not going to be undone. And yesterday, Hugh Jackman talked a little bit about that and how that is going to be specifically done. And it sounds like it's really going to tie into the events of Loki and specifically around the TVA. We already have had an announcement that Owen Wilson's Mobius is going to play a significant role in Deadpool 3, not just a quick little cameo, but a significant role, and that the TVA and Miss Minutes is going to be involved as well. But Hugh Jackman actually gives us a pretty big plot point for Deadpool 3. Now, since we already know that Deadpool and Wolverine are going to be traveling across the multiverse, going to different universes, kind of messing things up, I'm assuming, a lot of fans were wondering how exactly are they going to do this. Well, here is what Hugh Jackman had to say about Deadpool 3, the Logan timeline, and a time travel device in a recent interview.
All because of this device they have in the Marvel world of moving around timelines. Now we can go back because, you know, it's science. And and so I don't have to screw with the Logan timeline, which was important to me and I think probably to the fans too.
So this was on Sirius XM in an interview they did with Hugh Jackman, as you can see here. And he says that there's a device that they have in the Marvel world where they can move across timelines so they can go back. And he jokingly calls this science, and this reminds me of the quote from Thor, where he's talking to Jane and he says, "You call it magic. Where I come from, science and magic are one and the same." But looking at this interview clip, there are two very important things that you have to listen for. The first really important part is that he mentions the device that can help them move across different timelines. He is not specifically talking about going back in time in one timeline or the same timeline. He is talking about multiple different timelines. He then says, we don't have to mess with the Logan timeline. So the Wolverine that we are going to see in Deadpool 3 is not going to be the Wolverine variant from that Logan timeline. It looks like we might get introduced to a new, different variant of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, who will most likely be 99% the same. However, it looks like Deadpool will go into a different timeline and then go back in time and get Wolverine. This means that they would be out of the Logan timeline into a new one, so they won't mess up the Logan timeline. This was probably one of the stipulations that Hugh Jackman had for returning to Deadpool 3. Based off of what Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds have said, Hugh Jackman was the one who was really excited to return as Wolverine, to be in Deadpool 3. However, we have heard Hugh Jackman and we have heard Patrick Stewart talk about how Logan really was the end for them, and they would never want to return because they wouldn't want to undo the ending of Logan, where, spoiler alert if you haven't seen that movie, both Professor Xavier and Wolverine die, and they don't want to undo that, and they didn't, and both have now returned without undoing Logan. Now here is the question, what exactly is this time travel device? Most people would automatically think about Deadpool 2, the time travel device that Cable had. And this is a very logical thought. However, as far as we're concerned, this device can't travel between different universes, between different timelines. It's all in the same timeline. This was proven when Cable decided to save Deadpool, and the bunny that he kept on his side, which was burned, was no longer burned anymore. confirming that he changed the future of that very same timeline that he was in. So as far as we're concerned, that time travel device only allows him to travel forward and backward in time in the same timeline. However, there's recently been a report from insider Daniel RPK that there is going to be a new time travel device introduced in Loki Season 2. And considering how it does really seem like Deadpool 3 is going to tie into the TVA, Owen Wilson's Mobius, and Miss Minutes, this could be the time travel device that they use. According to Daniel RPK, a new temporal concept called Time Loom at the origin of the power of the TVA is going to be presented in Loki Season 2. And this could very well be exactly what Deadpool and Wolverine used to travel the multiverse, not just one timeline, but the multiverse. But what exactly could this time loom be? We'll talk about that and Spider-Man 4 in just a bit, but first, big thank you to Ryan Reynolds' company Mint Mobile for sponsoring this video. Most people know about Mint Mobile because of Ryan Reynolds, but most people don't know about Mint Mobile's amazing quality. Now, I live in the mountains and service isn't too good. However, Mint Mobile sent me a free plan and I get better service with their plan than I do with my other provider. But what's crazy is their plan is so much cheaper. Mint Mobile offers wireless for just $15 a month. They give you the best rate whether you're buying for one or a family, and at Mint Mobile, families start at only 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Plus, Mint Mobile's modern family plan lets you mix and match data plans so everyone gets the amount of data that's right for them, and you can use your own phone and keep your same number and contacts. So, to get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, including the modern family plan, go to mintmobile.com/cosmic. That's mintmobile.com/cosmic. Cut your wireless bill down to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/cosmic. Now, what is a time loom? Well, a regular loom, one for weaving, is a device that helps you hold a bunch of different threads in place so you can weave them. So you could probably see how the TVA and Kang having a time loom device makes sense. The time loom would be a device that would have multiple different timelines or threads being controlled by one machine. Now, I'm actually assuming that He Who Remains had a time loom as well, and he used the time loom to weave everything that he personally wanted into one timeline. That device could be how he formed the sacred timeline and kept all of the other multiverses and timelines into one, weaving them in the time loom into one universe. Now, since the goal of a new Kang the Conqueror, not the goal of He Who Remains who is now dead, but a new Kang, is to completely conquer the entire multiverse, I'm assuming that this time loom isn't being used to simply weave all of the universes or timelines into one. I'm expecting this device to be used by Kang for time travel and multiverse travel. This is most likely going to be one of the ways that Kang and the TVA can travel to several different multiverses for the purpose of conquering them. And it's still unsure how Deadpool and Wolverine are going to end up being in contact with the TVA, but I wouldn't be surprised if the TVA takes them and then they cause chaos inside of the TVA and use this time loom to jump across the multiverse. That would be funny, that would be action-packed, I'm sure, and it would be chaotic, which I'm sure everybody would absolutely love to see. But let me know your thoughts about all of that in the comments down below. Now, to move on to Spider-Man. We have kind of a big update depending on how you've been viewing Spider-Man 4 recently. A lot of people have stated that Tom Holland has not signed a new contract, and yes, even though Marvel and Sony said Spider-Man 4 is coming, you still never know. So there are some people out there that doubt that we are going to get Spider-Man 4. However, we have an update from Sony today. Coming from the CEO of Sony himself, when asked about a new live-action Spider-Man movie that isn't going to be animated, hence live action, and when and if it's going to come, when asked about it in a recent interview with The Hollywood Reporter, if we are getting Spider-Man 4, he said, "You bet." And when asked about when to expect it, he said, "When you can expect it, I don't know. Serve no wine before it's time." So for the doubters that Spider-Man 4 isn't going to actually happen, hopefully this puts you at ease. According to the Cosmic Circus, the release date for Spider-Man 4 is set to be July 12th of 2024. So about a year and a half away. I'm assuming once Sony gets done with Across the Spider-Verse stuff and promotion, we'll start to hear a lot more about Spider-Man 4 in the MCU. So, a lot of exciting things happening in the MCU. I can't wait for Deadpool 3 and, of course, Spider-Man 4 and Loki Season 2. But let me know how excited you are in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news. You can always follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.